Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back another video from T4 Star off the 4-Star Bento channel. We're continuing with these Daima reviews. This is covering episodes 7 to 12, where I feel like things start to pick up a little bit more. We have the fights with the three guys that guard the Dragon Balls and all that other stuff. Vegeta does the whole Super Saiyan 3 thing, as we see here. It's pretty cool. It starts picking up more. I've not watched episode 16 yet, but I've seen little, obviously the internet, I've seen little spoilery things, and I feel like the next 4 after that is going to be nothing but non-stop action. But let's see what these guys thought of episode 7 to 12.
He's much more impressive than the hedgehog I fought previously.
Dude, I'm standing right here.
Hey Nick! What up, Kaiser? We're back talking about Dragon Ball Daima.
All right.
Episodes 7 through 12, I think. I'm pretty sure.
Correct.
Yes. Yep. Is that the last one with Super Saiyan 3 cheats? Is that it?
Let's fucking lead with that, I guess. Yeah, that was the last episode I've seen.
Yeah. By the time people are watching this, it'd be really funny if like they weren't caught up.
Yeah, I didn't know. Oh my god.
Already.
Fun fact.
Mixed bag, wasn't it? People were like, no, and people were like, yay. I liked it. I'm all down for Daima. I like it.
I actually just watched the latter 4 episodes of this morning because my internet's been spotty due to all the fires out here. So, yeah.
I hope by the time this goes
watched,
up,
like, the last 4 episodes this morning to be like, oh shit, that's right, we need to record today. We need to talk about this.
Yeah. So at the very ending, so on episode 6, we had the big fight with Glorio and Goku.
Oh yeah, of
which
course,
is
yeah.
Kind of like definitely the mid-season, it feels like, because after that we get into a lot more of like the story, both in terms of like with Pansy and the collar, the Tamagami, and
Oh yeah, all this stuff with the creation of Majin Buu and all that stuff. Such cool lore dumps, man. I love it.
New Majin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually really like what they did with those. We'll get to them, though.
Yeah.
We get introduced to, like, a lot of different things. Like, for example, Pansy, like you were saying, she's got this, like, red collar. Like, she wears this scarf because it's, like, you know, a collar of shame. It basically shows that, like, the demons of the third realm are basically serfs, I guess, to this, like, caste system of the demonic hierarchy.
Yeah, and they can, like, take, like, their life years away from them and stuff. So weird.
So, Dr. Arinsu created these Kachin collars that, I guess, allow the
Gendarmerie.
Such a weird name, but yeah.
To essentially be like, hey, no, you stop doing that. They point their magic staff at you, and you're like, okay. You know, they're essentially
Like,
slave
oops,
collars.
sorry.
Yeah, and they
Yeah,
also
pretty
have
much.
the ability, apparently, to punish you by taking years off of your life.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. So, you know, Dr. Arinsu, not a very good person.
Yeah,
No, she's a scheming little bitch, and I love her.
unfortunately.
She's a bad lady, but I can
Ugh.
fix her.
Yeah, right.
I try to. Goddamn.
The hear me out is.
Yeah, okay, no, there's
She's a 10, but that's the one.
She's a 10, but there you go.
Yeah.
She's a 10, but she keeps
enslaved an
stealing.
entire society.
Yeah,
She's she's got a lot of bad things going on.
but for some people, honestly.
Yeah, so we learn about that collar's existence, like its function. I mean, we've seen it before. We've seen how it works, but now we learn why
Yeah.
it works.
Yeah, it's interesting because we get introduced to the collar, and then we immediately get introduced to a way to handle it.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, Shin.
which is, I mean, interesting. I don't know.
I'm sure that will come back into play with like the rest of these, like of the serfs, like all of the
Maybe, hopefully.
all
Oh, that'd be quite nice, but yeah.
the civilians and all the people who are being crushed by the bourgeoisie. I'm sure that will be like, oh yeah, and then Shin goes out and takes everybody's collars off and leads to a revolution. It definitely feels like
they seize the means of production.
It would nice. Yeah, it would be
Right.
nice to see Shin, because, like, why bring Shin in? Like, it was such a cool idea having him in, and then he seems to have been put to the side after these episodes, but then, yeah.
there's a lot of interesting, like, I wasn't expecting talks about class and stuff like that in Dragon Ball, but then again,
It's been
Sandland.
popping up throughout, like Sandland, and I mean, even think to GT with Capitalism Planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was getting shades of that.
Well, like Dragon Ball's always been kind of, in one way or another, anti-authoritarian. So yeah, this just kind of
Well, yeah,
makes
the whole
sense,
Frieza stuff.
right? Like you've got a government that is abusing its citizens. Well, that kind of fits in line with someone like Frieza. So yeah,
Or the
it's
Red Ribbon Army,
or
Piccolo
the-
Daimao. You know, like
Yeah.
they've always been anti-despotic.
yeah, and so it's a good plot here. I really like it. I like the setup. We don't get too much of it after this so far. Like again, because
But we are given a bit of history though too, because we learn about Dabura's father, Abra.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's so many cool little lore and history dumps, like, add to Z.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it
dig
is.
that.
It is.
I
it is
love
a
these
little-
like that big fat like wrestler-looking demon.
I love his. Oh my god,
Yeah.
his design is so good. We learn more about that later. Like it's interesting the way that we get a lot of the lore drops in this show, because a lot of it is some stuff that they could have dropped early, but they kind of save for later.
Yeah.
I don't mind it, like, cause and also it's really funny with Abra. It's like, oh yeah, that Dabura's whole name doesn't exactly. It's not. It doesn't. The translation there is not as quite as easy
I mean,
as
it's
Bibbidi
like
Bobbidi Boo.
Bibbidi and Bobbidi. So
Yeah, it's not quite as immediately obvious in the dub. If the dub were accurate, it would have been Dabra, but I don't think that would have flown as well.
yeah. It is interesting how we do like
I've still not watched any of the dub, but
cut this at the 6th episode and talking about later on, because at this point it does become much more of an ensemble piece. Not only are Vegeta, Piccolo, and Bulma back in the picture, like we cut to them much more often, but we also cut to Dr. Arinsu much more as well.
Yeah.
Because we're starting to see her side of the plot develop.
Yeah, and it's, man, Arinsu.
And that weird witch that she goes to.
Yeah, I don't know where to start because
That-
I feel like there's so much going on here.
I love it. I love it.
Like,
I guess
there's
we
so
can
many
go
things on
chronologically then.
Well, okay, yeah, because in episode 7, yeah, we get all the stuff with like the caller and being the gendarmerie and taking their plane, and also very interesting thing. I had no idea they would do something like this, and honestly, I'm glad that they did. Shin has a name,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nahare.
And Nair.
Nahare.
Ah.
Yeah,
Nahare.
yeah, his name is Nahare, and I'm sure I haven't looked up what that means. I'm sure it has a meaning. But it's so fascinating to me because he is Kaioshin. Shin just comes from Kaioshin. So,
Oh.
yeah, no shit, that's not his name.
Oh, yeah, of course. Damn, that's interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, I think that's so neat. He's got
Yeah.
an actual name.
Huh.
Okay. We haven't exactly done
I mean,
anything
it's
with
like,
it.
it's like
but
17 and 18 both have names, but the show will only ever refer to them.
Those
as
17, 18, yeah.
Hachigo.
Yeah.
I think which I think they'd, not dig on, but I guess they just kind of accept it.
Yeah.
It's whatever, right?
Yeah.
I think they just kind of don't care all that much.
Yeah. They're very
Um,
aloof.
Yeah.
But yeah, episode 7 gives us like a lot more exposition. Shin, he's got an evil older brother and an evil witch older sister. Or is the
Yeah.
brother younger? I can't remember.
Actually, I have no idea.
Doesn't matter. They're siblings. We learned.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're related.
We've learned that they're siblings, but they keep pointing that out. And finally, they're going after the dragon.
Yes.
So the Tamagotchi
Goku's fight's so
have been
sick.
Kind of like, they haven't been too well set up. They're kind of mentioned as, oh yeah, these are the guys who guard the Dragon Balls, and they were created by that old Namekian whose name I'm kind of forgetting right now.
It's
That's
another
weird.
N name, I feel like.
Yeah, which he is a fascinating character. Like the more we get of
He
him,
is very
the more
interesting.
interested
I love how he did the whole thing of like just playing dumb so that the bad guys didn't get onto that he actually wants to help, do the good thing. It's so cool.
Never, yeah. The more we get of him, the more interested I become because he is. I feel like he's kind of the dark horse villain in all of this. Oh,
He's
either that
fun.
or
he does seem.
Oh,
very
no, I
freaking
think he's on the
evil
good side.
in everything he does. It's that weird kind of eerie smile.
Smile, yeah.
that he
Yeah.
has.
I don't know if he's actually going to end up being a bad guy, or if it's sort of this kind of like, oh, you don't know if he's good or bad. Maybe
No, I think
maybe
he's a
he is
good
bad, or
guy.
maybe that's just a cover for like, maybe he's just good and he's a little bit like.
But he does have that edge to him, like that. Every time he shows up, it's like something feels wrong. He's always, every time he's there, the top part of him always seems very like. Whenever he's in like the distance,
Shadowy.
the top part of him always seems very shady. Even though that's the part that's closest to the light. It's weird.
Yeah, the show is very much playing with, is he a bad guy? He might not be.
I don't
It's
think he
very
is.
possible that, again,
I
this
don't
is all
think
just
he
kind of
is.
like
I don't think he is.
intentional misdirection, and he's just old and knowledgeable and just trying to get what he wants, but it's a good thing. Or he could be a bad guy. We don't know.
Yeah, because he's constantly fucking with whoever he's with in the scene. It's like, yeah, no, I'll bring these back for you. Yeah, I'm not gonna tell you how they work though.
Well, so like, and you know, the limited interactions he's had with Tamagami makes him seem like a nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Like he built these things to protect the Dragon Balls so that they wouldn't be overused by the evil lords that rule.
Yeah, I think also such a cool setup. I love the idea of like, oh yeah, there are only 3 Dragon Balls you need for this, but they're all protected by like these warriors.
Really powerful
Really cool
warriors, yeah.
stuff. And so yeah, and we get Nahade. We find out his name, and then that's the point where they're like, all right, cool. So let's go find us a Tamagami and let's do this. Let's
Oh,
get our first
Goku's
Dragon
fight's
Ball.
so good.
And it's a little annoying that most of that episode spends so much time getting to that point.
Oh, okay, fair.
Explaining things, getting to that village where we finally see the first Tamagami, the 3-star.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say it's a wasted time, but god damn it, the fact that it ends
It's a
right
lot of
before the fight.
exposition.
Yeah, but finally we get our first fight, and holy,
Isn't this great? Yeah.
It's great.
Like-
I love that each of these Tamagami kind of have their own personality too. I think that helps a lot. They're not just robot fighters.
yeah, they don't have very distinct personalities, mind you, but they do have.
But they are personalities nonetheless. This first one's like big, bombastic. Like the first thing he does is just yell at Goku. It's like, "What do you want?"
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a pretty wild way to start it. But yeah, it's the Tamagami. They've got neat designs. There's the big buff one. There's the like really skinny one, and then I think there's the one that's a little bit more like mid-range, like more middle of the road. And
Yeah, the skinny one with the spear that's like very cold and calculated, and then there's the one with the sword, which is strictly soldier, strictly there on business.
he definitely feels like he is a like the paladin type or
Yeah.
like the warrior type, and then we have the big old bruiser type that Goku
Yeah.
fights in this first one.
And I like that there's rules to them too. It's like if you back out, if you surrender, they'll stop. Like they aren't just gonna kill you.
Yeah, I mean, and that
I like that aspect to them, where it's like this is a fair competition.
yes, they definitely don't feel punitive. They just feel like, no, I am the guy that you have to get over. If it doesn't work out, leave, come back, we'll do this again.
We'll do it again.
And I like that. I like that a lot because it definitely there's this nice feeling of like Neva didn't just make them to hurt people. He did.
That's
just made
purely
them
to
serve
defend the
that
Dragon
purpose,
Balls, yeah.
and they serve it well. And so yeah, and then this first fight, it goes crazy.
It
The
does.
animation's off
It's
the
so
charts.
good. It's so good.
We talked about this with like the big guy versus little guy fight. We talked about this when we watched Super Saiyan 4 versus Great 8 Baby, where it's like, okay, there are some fun things you can do there. This, I feel like, goes to the max with that, because they're playing with size in ways that are, like, really fun. Like, Goku's riding, like, because he's swinging this big fucking...
Yeah, like, Totally Not Mark did this whole video on, like, I think I mentioned the last one, like, how it works and doesn't work with the changing them into, like, you know, chibi versions of themselves. And this fight, it really does work with Goku like this. They really do play on it a lot, and it's just fantastic.
Top hammer. So Goku's, like, climbing on the hammer, riding it, using it as a platform. He gets caught by the hammer, and he's like not getting smashed by it, but he's being
getting
pushed
swung by it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like, and him having to go underneath.
So
and,
cool.
And, like around and just.
This is how you do that sort of size fight, and I
Yeah,
love it.
there you go, yeah.
Well, the size here is also not a small guy versus a giant. This feels more like David and Goliath in terms of like he is big, but he's not like grade 8 big. And
he's
so
not giant, but like the
Because
scope and
Goku's
scale
smaller.
of it is to the point where it is essentially a a mini Goku fighting a giant.
Yeah, and it's really cool. They just do a lot of really great camera work. I was so impressed. And then, oh, that Kamehameha, the 1st big one we actually get in the show.
Yeah,
just
that first Kamehameha where
So good.
initially in that fight with Glorio, I thought that when he's charging up his beam lightning to fire at Goku, I thought, okay, here comes the Kamehameha. No,
Nope.
they saved it for here, and damn, I'm glad they did. 'Cause
Looks
that
so
payoff.
good.
yeah, it is. Oh, it is so wild. Like, Naotoshi Ishida went so hard on that scene, and
Especially the second the second burst of it. Ooh,
yeah,
ooh, spicy.
it's so crazy. I'm so glad this show looks so good, dude.
Yeah, man.
Like,
It's
this show
beautiful.
looks. We didn't talk
The
too
animation's
much about the actual animation last time.
fantastic.
God damn. Like, you're just getting these amazing looking scenes that are boarded great character animation. Like,
The flow and the impact. Like, the impact frames are so good.
Yeah, they're really impressive. This is what happens when you have a studio that is just packed full of great animators, but also a good schedule. Because that was a big thing about this show. This show has been in production for forever. Like, people
Spent a
were
lot of
talking
time on
about
it.
this. People in the know behind the scenes were talking about the show over a year ago.
Yeah, I remember starting to hear rumors of it about that long ago.
Yeah, I'd heard rumors about it before it got announced. Like, God, I think it was a year and a half ago, and I kind of kept it to myself because I'm like, I don't want to like write out people's names or anything. But knowing about it, I was like, yeah, okay, if it comes out, it comes out. That was back when it was called Dragon Ball Magic.
Magic, yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Who wanted this?
And
We
then
wanted
finally,
more.
It's like a year ago, I think we hear about Daima, but then like nothing for forever. It's
Yeah,
like,
and then they start dropping oh, it's gonna be them as kids again. It's like, oh, really? What's going on here? And then it finally comes out. It's like, oh, damn, no, they cooked.
yeah, no, they spent all of that time cooking. I do think they needed to advertise it more, and its ratings right now kind of show that. This show needed way more advertising.
It really
People
did.
were kind of like banking on it being Dragon Ball as being a sure hit. I do think that its lack of advertisement and kind of its premise have hurt its viewings early on. I'm hoping that once the dub hits, more people are going to give it a try because I really am enjoying the show and I want people to give it a try.
It is interesting that they kind of launched it on Netflix too. So-
Yeah, well, it's on Netflix and it's on Crunchyroll, so you can view it in both places. You're watching it on.
I've been watching it on Netflix. Its player works much better on my smart television than the Crunchyroll player does.
Yeah, I mean,
Your
let's.
lights going insane there.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying because we've been filming. The sun has
The
gone
sun's been
down.
going down, yeah.
And my lighting in here isn't great, so I'm trying to get something on my. I'm trying not to look like totally blown out. It's tough. But yeah, it's not been like doing as well as I think it could have, and I definitely think that part of that just comes down to a lack of advertisement for this.
It really hasn't been advertised that
And the fact
much.
that
It's crazy.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, and the fact that it's on like Crunchyroll and Netflix, you're dividing your audiences a little bit, so it's hard to say. I'm hoping it's doing well because obviously it's a good.
Yeah,
it's a good product, and I want
We
good
don't
product.
It
really
is
have those
great.
back-end numbers, so it's hard to really say. And I'm also wondering.
I'm sure
if-
Geekdom, I've not watched them, but I'm sure Geekdom did a few videos as well on how the fact that it's not been advertised as much as it should have been. And yeah, it probably is because, like they said, it's got Dragon Ball in the title. They probably don't want to spend the money on it because they feel like the product's just going to sell itself. But yeah.
Kind of like you said, watching it week to week is a bit harder. Maybe when more of it is out and people can actually sit down and binge, because that's just the kind of culture we're in now. We're in binge watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe then it'll kind of pick up. I think this show will have very long legs though, because it is quality. Especially because in the latter half, the latter half, these latter 6 episodes that we're talking about today, we get more Hybis, and he's great. I love him.
Yeah.
Oh, he is funny.
God.
And then what happens later?
So
Whoa.
it's sort of interesting because the way Remember when we talked about the fact that they set up like, oh yeah, we're just gonna use this other ship that we found, and we're gonna repair it, and that's how we're gonna get to this demon world, and then that doesn't work, and then Hybus shows
Yeah,
up, right?
yeah. Like I think the excuse there was like, oh, it doesn't have any fuel.
Yeah, honestly, I think I think they could have just skipped everything with that other ship. It kind of felt like they gave an excuse for why they couldn't get there, but if they did, why spend time working on that ship if it's not going to mean anything? Sorry.
I think you needed that aspect because you needed to seed the idea that other people are going to be coming along. It's not just Goku.
Well, yeah, I suppose like to set it up for later to kind of keep them engaged for that time, but by the time we get to like Hybus bringing them in, I'm so glad that we have that set up. I'm so glad that's how it's happening because this group works so well. Piccolo feels like he's sort of the odd man out where he's not as involved, but he does get to be the kind of this like outside observer for all the wackiness. So in that regard, we do kind of get that. But it's just like Bulma's like so curious about everything, and Hybus is like, yeah, that's how it works. Whatever.
He's so nonchalant. It's just like,
very nonchalant.
There you go.
It's like, oh man, this is this place. Oh, good. We get to stay at a hotel. I hope they have mud-colored wine. What's that taste like?
mud.
Mud.
Yeah,
Oh my god, the movement on his head. It's all on ones, and it's oh my god, I'll never
I love
forget
him.
that.
He's my favorite character in this show right now.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And his interactions with Vegeta are all priceless. Every single every interaction, he's like, "You're being rude to me."
You're being rude to me. Fine, please. Okay.
It's great. Like,
He's
why
like hitting on Bulma in front of Vegeta. She's like, "That's my wife." Whatever.
Yeah, it's just
Whatever, man.
wow, she's
Oh,
in
our
the ship, man.
ship. Where is it? Ship got stolen. What do you mean got stolen? Got stolen.
Ship got stolen.
Want to go play with the zombies? If you get turned into a zombie, you lose. I don't want to do that. Okay.
sure. I'd love from them doing these reviews and doing all this. I'd love just one like Dragon Ball Z abridged special of Daima. Like just do it. Just do one Daima spin-off like you did with the Boo for the Marks reviews. Just do it.
He's so
Because it's part of the storyline, so you could make it fit.
This is my eyeball belt.
Which,
I love him. He's
by the way,
fantastic.
is that the evil eye? Is that the
If it is the third eye, that's a very Toriyama way to go about it.
Yeah.
I feel like
it made it
that's
sound
the-
like it's just an eye he found in the mountains. He's like, I found it. Put it on my belt.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
I
it-
think
yeah.
he has the evil eye thing.
Maybe it is. Maybe you're right. This is the first time I'm thinking about it like that.
Because
That is a very Toriyama thing to do.
it'd be really funny, and I'm genuinely hoping that's the case. I'm trying not to get my like I don't want to get my hopes up. I don't want to be like, oh,
I ain't saying anything until we get to the episodes.
oh, it's gotta be this, because if it's not, I don't want to be disappointed later. But damn it, it would be great if it were. It'd be so
The
funny.
show takes a left turn so often, just kind of out of nowhere. Like we get introduced to like Dr. Arinsu's plot throughout this entire chunk of episodes is she's trying to create a new Boo because she was there when Vegeta blew up the first Boo.
Yeah.
She grabbed a chunk of them, so she wants to create a new one out of that. So she goes to this crazy witch lady who I guess created the original Boo. That's a bit of a retcon. Like really shaft bibbity on that one.
So there's a lot that. What the fuck? The fact that she created the original Boo is not something I would necessarily mind in a vacuum.
Yeah.
Because, like, we already had the retcon that Bibbidi didn't make Boo in the supplementary material.
Mm-hmm.
In that material, Boo was a creature that had existed since like the beginning of time.
Oh, okay.
I think is actually pretty cool. I'm totally okay with that being like, oh, he's a naturally occurring phenomenon. Oh, okay, that's neat. But now we have something that retcons both of those things.
Okay.
I think that's kind of like. Here's the thing: from the universe's standpoint, Boo did just kind of exist because he got shunted out of this demon world reality and into Universe 7 because, like, okay, we can't deal with this shit. Get it out of here. Throw it somewhere where nobody's gonna find it. Yeah, sure. Throw it into that universe. Who cares?
It is just, it's sort of weird because you have this like ancient old witch who's just making universe destroying monsters. why? What? Okay.
I like it.
And
Okay,
like,
whatever.
I don't know. I kind of like the aspect of it. 'cause,
I like the
like,
whole aspect
she
of it
clearly
because
lives in
I like that she's very trying to be secretive about it as well. Does it's like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about, but she's like, I'll keep you secret. It's like, oh, okay. So I wasn't one of the people to know that she did it. So it's like, maybe she did. Maybe she did, like, and she kept it a secret the whole time. She didn't want people to know.
seclusion, doing her and Dr. Arinsu knows her because I'm guessing she's a fan of her work, maybe studied under her. I don't fucking know.
I like the idea. I like the idea actually that they're just kind of like old friends, or well, no, it actually kind of seems like she just found out about her not too long ago because like
Maybe.
when she drops because she kind of drops the like, by the way, I know that you actually made Majin Buu.
I don't know what you're
it.
talking about. That was Bibbidi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? People are gonna talk and they're gonna say things, and I'm just here doing my thing. Okay, I'm just here making
People
monsters.
say a lot of things. I don't know where you found that cosmic monstrosity, officer. It's not mine.
Right. So, but it's interesting. A bit of an interesting lore change there.
I
But
also find it fascinating that I guess Cybermen came from this universe,
Yeah.
or
yeah,
Seems
she has
it.
the Cyberman seeds.
it's interesting how Daima is trying to take like we went off into space, but now Daima's like, yeah, but we're gonna take this all back to magic stuff now. We're gonna shove the magic back into the space and the science like we did in Boo. And I think that's interesting. The Cybermen not being an alien race, but being from the demon world. Okay.
It's
All right.
it's a weird pull. I don't mind.
It's strange. They didn't need to, but I like it. I like that they keep doing little throwbacks to the original Z stuff. It's cool. Like I said, it adds more to Z.
Necessarily, because clearly there's some sort of interdimensional trade happening regardless. Like, people end up out there. Some people decided to smuggle a bunch of Cybermen, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, it turns out Cybermen, they be demons, and also like,
Or at least demon creations.
yeah, I really just anything with pointy ears.
Pointy
now, I
ears,
guess.
yeah.
I don't even remember Cybermen having ears. I guess they
Oh,
did.
yeah. I just looked. They have the pointy ears.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
But yeah, so they decide to combine Boo's goo essence with the Cyberman seeds, and we get Ku first.
Majin
Yeah.
Ku.
So
Majin
it's
Ku.
Majin Ku.
And this is Arinsu's gambit to be like, okay, these are going to be this is going to be my fighter to try to get us some Dragon Balls. And unlike what you'd expect, he's very articulate. He's like very like kind of witty even. Like
He's
smart.
Yeah, he's kind of what would you say? He's a bit of a he's a polite. He's a bit of a fast talker. He's a henchman. And he's just trying to be here. Like he's just trying to be helpful.
He's
Yeah.
like, I'm here. I'm like, look, Arinsu spit on that thing, so he wants to be like happy with her.
She really did. Oh my god. She really did spit on that. Which, by the way, no, I'm not gonna say anything.
They dwell on those shots too. It's weird.
You know, there are some people who have
She
pointed
could
that out, and other
spit
people
on
are like,
me.
don't be horny. But it's like, am I being horny, or am I
I'm
just kind of
sorry,
different?
she's designed that way.
Oh, she's designed horny. That's
Yeah.
true. Like,
Oh,
the
yeah.
design is horny.
Oh yeah,
Gooner
I'm all
culture
for
is a
it.
thing. Dude.
Boom.
Yeah, so we get Ku, who, I love Ku. Ku's a good boy. And I love...
Yeah,
Ku.
definitely,
And
he is a good boy.
Ku being
Does
a
what he's
good boy.
told.
And he's not incompetent either. Like the fight scene we get with him is pretty fun.
Yeah.
Oh, you know that scene where he does, like, the whole, like, and then starts running on all fours?
Mm-hmm.
Cool thing about that, that wasn't in the storyboard. The animator
Really?
was just like, hey, I want to do this thing where he, like, runs on all fours.
Just kind of
And-
went wild with it.
Yeah,
Cool.
and
Starts
I'm like,
running like movie Craven.
Ku's got so much character to him, and I love it.
Yeah, it's boss.
Real good. I
But
was like,
he-
I was so weirded out by his introduction too. Like, oh yeah, we're going to get a new villain here, and it's going to be based off of a Cyberman, and it's going to be from the person who actually made Majin Buu, and it's got Anisu Spit. I'm like, okay, this is fucking weird. How did this happen?
Yeah, it
kinda-
was to keep him loyal, I guess.
Yeah.
But the plot up until this point, this has not been the thing. This is not where we've been going. This is not the build-up. And then just like, new Majin. And like, okay.
And
Yeah.
then they have
Let's go. Why not? Yeah, let's have it.
the one star Tamagami.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, I lose, you win. I'm not that strong. He's like, okay, failed. So she goes back and makes another one with extra goo. And
By the way, I really want to point out real quick, one of my favorite interactions is it's like, oh, well, that's too bad. I'm very disappointed in you. You know what? I'm firing you. You're fired. Oh,
Yeah.
come on. I've still got uses. I'm good at running errands. And
run
Yeah.
errands for you.
Goes the
I
shop.
like how she's just like,
Whatever.
yeah,
We're gonna go make you a brother.
yeah, it's like, screw this. You're getting a brother now. And
So they make
yeah.
Majin Do with extra boo goo. They bury that seed deeper,
Further, yeah.
which I guess has an effect on its nutrient density. And it
But it's
comes
not
out
as
much
obedient.
dumber and
Yeah.
looking a little bit more like chibi fat boo.
Yeah, we're seeing similarities to original Mr. Boo now. And it's interesting because the characterization's not exactly the same either. He's a little bit more, he's less innocent and more just kind of like self-centered. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's interesting to me because that self-centeredness doesn't make him entirely unlikable though.
No, I actually really like these two. I like Majin. Like I expected to hate them, but I really.
Oh, they're alright. They're fun to watch
I
on
like
screen,
them.
especially when they're
I want
together
chocolate.
as well.
Give
Yeah.
me chocolate. Give me chocolate.
They bounce
Hold
off
on.
of each other.
I got this.
Yeah.
I can run errands. And he runs the
can't-
errands.
Hey, what did he tell you? He's living
He's
up
getting
to
that
exactly what he
chocolate.
said.
Let's go.
God.
Goes
again.
and buys chocolate, and
He
he
goes-
feeds his brother.
That, oh my god, it's just such a great scene. They're so cute together. They're so cute and funny, and I love the fact that Ku is just out here doing his job the best he can, and we see this come back later in an interesting way too.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that I think they're kind of building up their relationship to be the sort of emotional core for what happens later, because I have a feeling that either one or two things are going to happen. One, they're going to fuse together, or two, well, I guess we can't. I was going to say maybe she'll make another one, but they used all the boo bits.
It's
they used all the
both
boos.
the
Yeah, I don't
Cybermen
know
things as
what
well.
they would do there. Maybe, you know what? Maybe they eat the bugs.
Yeah. Like I feel
Oh,
like
the
that's
fusion
kind of
bugs.
the direction it's going to go, where they have to fuse, and Vegeta and Goku will have to fuse, or who knows, maybe
Ah,
Piccolo will
yeah.
actually have some actual.
Not too sure now after what's happened in the last episode.
I
but-
hope Piccolo so far has just not had a whole he's the stuff with Neva is interesting, and I really like that stuff in that episode. Otherwise, he's felt very kind of tangential.
Yeah, it's not doing
And
much.
I'm hoping that in the coming episodes we get more. It's not a complaint. It's just I do hope that happens.
Yeah, because it's interesting. In this batch of episodes, we learn that Namekians are precious because all of them fled this area because they were slaves. And now they have a warrior Namekian, they have a magic Namekian. There's going to be something in the plot with that. Like, Piccolo has to be involved from this point forward, especially after learning that.
Yeah, I'm very curious. There's that little comment that they make that he doesn't remember his language, which I'm wondering if that's a bluff. Because
I'm
it's-
willing to bet it's not. The reason that they gave for that seemed legit, where it's like, I've been living on Earth so long, I haven't had anybody to use it with. So I kind of get that. At the same time, less than a decade or so ago, him and Kami were speaking some alien language at the World Martial Arts Tournament. So
I will not less than a decade. That would have been like 20 years at least.
okay, but
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, he been speaking Namekian within the last 20 years. Like the idea that he lost it is a little weird. I'm not. Look, if that's just the case, if that's it, that's fine. I don't care. I'm wondering though if he's like, no, actually I do know Namekian. I wanted you to come along because I wanted to keep my eye on you.
Yeah, there could be that aspect to it, or it could just be that, like, he can't speak it as fluently. Like, he probably still got some of it in there, but
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Again, honestly, I'm very curious to see where they go with that. I'm just curious to see where they go with Piccolo in general. I really do hope that he gets some time to shine. I'm not bothered by how much he's gotten so far. I will be bothered if he doesn't get more. But besides that, Ku, do love them. If they do fuse, I will give infinite points if it's Majin Buu. Okay, if it's Majin Buu, that's the final big bad that they have to fight.
But it doesn't seem like that is the big bad now, does it? But again, I don't really want to say anything until we get into the actual episode reviews. But yeah,
100 points, 1,000.
But yeah, I
points.
thought that's where it was
You get the
going.
Dooku. Yeah, you win.
I feel like it's going to be like a team up. I reckon they'll fuse and Goku and Vegeta fuse, and there'll be like a team up with them.
Oh God. But yeah, no. I will live for that.
I do like their dynamic too, where Do is stronger, martially. Like he takes the 1-star dragon the 1-star Dragon Ball Tamagami down
in a fight. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
But when
he
it
has
comes
this
to
chaotic fighting
wits
style where,
and his,
like Boo,
you
he'll
know.
turn into a ball. Like he does a lot of the Kid Boo fighting style sort of stuff,
Which,
where he
by
like
the way,
bounces his body. He accidentally blasts himself in the face when he's learning how to do things. I
Yeah.
love that bit.
which, by the way, again, the animation here is really, really helping to sell like both him and Ku.
Yeah.
If the animation weren't nearly as good, these characters wouldn't be half as fun as they are. But the fact that the animation is this good is like it really sells everything about them. There's this one shot where he gets slapped away, then bounces off the wall, and then lands right back where he was.
Yeah.
And I love that shit. It's so good.
So random. It's just like,
Yeah.
what's going
So
on?
he's much stronger, but we see their dynamic come into play because the Tamagami have this rule where it's like, okay, you bested me martially.
Yeah, but then the
now you have
riddle-
to face my other test.
Or the
This one's more
maths
like a
quiz.
brain test.
Which I will get into Vegeta's one later because I found that
Yeah.
one funny. But like the one for Do is unreasonable.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
maths quiz was just so.
Find me the sum of all of these numbers, and maybe it's unreasonable for a reason because it seems like as you go down the layers, the Tamagami itself also gets stronger and their challenge is harder.
Maybe.
From what it seems. So
So this was meant to be the
listing off,
hardest
all
one.
of these numbers is like, okay, what's the sum of all of these? And even Arinsu, who has been shown to be like, the
Clever,
smartest person
yeah.
in the room in all of her scenes, is like, nobody can do that. And then and then Ku is like, blah 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 blah.
He tells him, doesn't he?
29. And then the fat one looks at him, blah 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 29. Correct.
Yeah, that, by the way, that is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That like, yeah, they
They
are
both
establishing
beat
that
him.
Both Ku and Do have their own place in this plot.
Yep.
They complement each other. It's, oh man, I love
It's-
that.
It's why I think they will eventually fuse.
Yeah,
they
because
have
then they'll be
a
like,
strategic
oh
mind
mate,
of
it'd be so
one
sick. Like
with
that's
the
that's
raw
danger.
power
That
of the other. So
Yeah.
you just kind of get that
intellect and
overall
strength
bad.
merged. Boom.
I don't know. They're so charming. It's like it's like the betas in Heroes where I don't
Oh,
think
okay,
they're
yeah.
necessarily going to be
Gammas.
evil bad guys, but kind of like kind of evil to good, like kind of tweener sort of characters.
By the way, you meant the Gammas.
Yeah.
The Gammas. Sorry.
I was so confused. The
Like,
Betas?
yeah.
Gammas.
Thank God for the editor pro and
Yeah,
in the
and the
picture there. I got
Gammas-
there
well,
was the
the
gamma
Gammas
straight
were
away.
sort of interesting
I'm so
because they were
torn
antagonist-
whether to get the gamma Funko Pops or not. I don't know. I just don't know. But I went to a Comic Con yesterday and I was so made up. I managed to get the Chase limited edition variant of Super Saiyan Gohan with the glasses and cape. It cost me 50 quid, but
Of course, because they were being misled.
Cheaper than buying it online, though. It really was.
But again, these guys, they don't necessarily, like, I don't think they have a will of evil. There's just the fact that they're being led along by
It's
this
who they're
person who has
working
their
with,
own,
yeah.
like, agenda.
Yeah, and I am very, very curious to see how they develop specifically because I love both of them and I hope by the end of this that they get a happy ending. It would make me happy to see them like not destroyed if that's possible.
Yeah, as far as alignment goes, it feels like Do is sort of like chaotic neutral, and Ku actually seems like chaotic good.
Yeah,
of the
Ku-
two of them.
I mean,
Like, he's just
Ku-
being a good boy.
Yeah, he's not even chaotic necessarily. He just feels like he's actually more maybe neutral good or maybe just neutral because he's out here doing what he's told. That's his whole thing. He's like,
Actually, that
hey,
might make him lawful.
yeah, maybe. He's just a good boy. He's just such a good boy. And I want
Excuse
He
me.
wants to make mommy happy.
yeah, and I really do hope that like they get a good ending. But meanwhile, I
Yeah,
feel like
that's their whole plot because
Yeah.
like we haven't really gotten into Vegeta and Goku and all them because Goku is now heading to the second layer of the demon world where the air is no longer thick. Okay, we're tossing that out the window. We don't need to worry about that as a limiter anymore. You got it. They've already adapted.
Let's
to it.
go.
Who cares?
Also, real quick, there was an episode with Dragon Ball Thieves.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't
Random
think it amounted to much.
No.
Like it was just another one of those fun
time,
hey,
like fill time.
Goku's really strong. Let's have some fun little cheeky characters that Goku can slap around. It felt like their episode was almost kind of a B plot because the A plot of that one was Vegeta, Piccolo, and Bulma adapting to the new world.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it also ends up with them like meeting up and them being like, "Yeah, but you can't come along with us because we don't have a plane." Then why did you meet up? What?
Yeah, that did feel like really tacked on. It's like, oh,
like, oh,
man,
okay,
we
no
met
more.
up again. Anyway, we're going to level 2. See ya.
Bye.
Yeah, I really didn't like that. Again, the story.
We aren't losing our tent.
This feels like a first pass like material. This feels like okay, this all could have been cut and streamlined. That is my biggest problem with the show is that there are so many things that don't need to be there that don't actually add to the anything.
Except
And
the
so-
runtime.
Yeah, and so there's this part of me that's just like, it's not killing it for me, but when it happens, it bothers me. Also, really weird transitions. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed this, but there are times where it goes to, it fades to black and then fades out of black. Like, out of nowhere. It's just awkward.
And not in a time passy way, but more in just a scene transition way.
Yeah, it's just strange. And I
I
feel
almost
like
wonder if that's a commercial cut.
maybe, I don't know, because it doesn't feel like it. Who knows? But it's a little bit awkward in that regard. Like there's a bunch of stuff in the show that I can point out where I'm like, yeah, this is weird. But the good stuff kind of like makes up for it for me. Like
Yeah,
like
the fact that they're with Hybis just
Hybis
elevates
makes
every single one of their scenes.
Hybis fix everything.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter how bad
It
anything
is
else
fun.
Hybis.
Yeah, he's there.
Yeah.
Is he doing something? It's a good scene.
But yeah, so yeah, they go off. They meet up. They establish. Okay, we're all here now. Now we're gonna go off to the second Tamagami. And they end up getting it to that Tamagami ultimately together, which is good. Like
Yeah, because Goku and them, they go to that second level. They get attacked by the
A Kraken.
gendarmerie, and then
Yeah, the big
Kraken
octopus thing.
after their ship gets damaged.
again.
Which I like the design, like the jellyfish ass Kraken. The very like it's a very Toriyama Kraken.
Very
Yeah,
much so.
Dragon
It
Quest.
screams
It
Toriyama.
is-
Pie.
It's something straight out of Dragon Quest, yeah. And also, it's interesting because like maybe the dialogue kind of like, oh yeah, we're not strong enough to fight that thing, and I'm like, well, yeah, you are. It's just you'd have to go like Super Saiyan and do a bunch of stuff. You're
Yeah,
just,
they could absolutely kill one of those things
Yeah,
because
defo.
they knock one out. Like Vegeta knocks one out mid-fight,
Yeah.
like without paying it too much heed.
well, he doesn't knock it out. In fact, after he goes
We
Super
see
Saiyan,
it floating upside down in the water, like in an establishing shot later.
I thought after
don't remember
Vegeta
that.
kind of like it coughs Vegeta up, it's just like, no, what, I'm out, I'm done. And then
It does
just
do
leaves.
that, but then we see one
But then
kind
it-
of like floating face up in the ocean.
Oh,
I don't know. Maybe
oh,
that's just like a fun little shot.
But yeah, no, it's the Kraken. The Kraken's also interesting. Also provides a great scene for Pansy. The fact that Pansy's the one that goes back and gets the Dragon Ball. I love the look on Glorio's face when he realizes, oh god, we left the Dragon Ball.
Yeah, he's so
Like,
distraught.
I got you
I got it.
covered. Yeah.
And Goku saved her. I thought for a moment it was going to be like he instant transmissions her out. But no, he just
Yeah,
pulls her
huh.
out.
Yeah.
Hasn't used that at all
also,
yet, yeah.
I also forgot about the Dragon Ball until she went in. And I was like, why is she going in there? Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that was actually pretty good. Pretty good lineup there. I love that whole scene. I love the way they make that work because, again, showing Pansy has a purpose. There's a part of it like I really like that because
She's likable.
Even Pan never really got that.
No, oh, in GT, oh god damn, yeah.
She does fulfill that role, and that scene actually did feel kind of tense when you're watching that thing get like kind of crushed around her. It's like, ooh, okay,
Yeah.
I'm feeling the actual tension here. I know she's not going to die, but
Shit, I feel the direness.
Yeah, if I were a kid watching that, I'd be kind of tense about it too. I'd be like, oh my god. Yeah, no.
It was uncomfortable and claustrophobic. I dug that as a scene, even though I know that she's not going to fucking die.
Yeah. Again, it's all about, like, even if you know it's not going to happen, the presentation can still make it work. And that's, again, this show is...
It did make it
the
feel
show is
tense,
nothing
yeah.
if not nailing presentation. And so, yeah, we get all of them together. They are now fully together.
Let's
They're,
go.
they're on proto-planet Namek.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty
it's
much.
gorgeous. It looks so good.
Made sense as well. I love
They
it.
meet up with Neva there, by the way. And, oh, man. Neva being reintroduced by singing Makafushiki Adventure made
I
my
like that.
goddamn day. I was like, hell
Gotta
yeah.
find 'em all. The magic is. I get it.
Yeah.
And Piccolo's like, drop the shit. I know you're acting, old man.
Yeah.
I love that. The fact, like, again, this is where I'm glad we're getting more Piccolo, because Piccolo immediately being like, drop the act, dude. I'm
Cut
like,
it
that's
out.
so good.
I know who you are, and I know what you're about.
It's great, and it makes me really want to, like, it's why this whole setup just makes me, like, I really do hope we get more of the Namekian stuff, because I was never...
I don't see it happening now. I do think the last 4 episodes are just going to be nothing but fighting the big final boss. Unless the last episode has something. Because I'm intrigued as to how they're going to end it and yet let it be, you know, part of the story. So, maybe.
all that curious about
Like, I generally thought it was going to be like a 50-something episode like thing, and then now it's like, oh, it's just so disappointing. I love the world building. Anyway.
backstory and lore and stuff beforehand, but now I don't know. There's just like it's so it's tantalizing. This whole setup is very tantalizing.
Yeah. We got that whole drop of, like, Piccolo's dad's name, which we did get in the manga, if I recall correctly, because we made that joke on Namek. Well, not even a joke. We just made that drop where Guru says, the son of Katats has passed. I remember the internet being like, retconning is it? No, that was there. That was there.
Right.
Joke's on you, Dragon Ball fans don't read.
No.
The meme is real, man. The meme is real.
Like not being able to breathe in space.
Yeah.
Oh.
But finally, like, we get to the second Tamagami, and it really does feel like the pacing has taken, like, a different shift. It's like, okay, let's just get this part over with, because now we need Vegeta to get his run in. Yeah,
we have a lot going on now, and having 2 plots going on at the same time like they did was a great choice. It also meant that so I will say the animation for Vegeta versus that Tamagami didn't exactly wow me like Goku's did. It's
No,
still good. It still has some great.
It's slick.
some
It's
great
pretty
shots
slick,
and great
like, but
scenes.
like it's
No,
not
it
as
looks
impressive.
bad. But we've finished all 3 Tamagami, and I feel like Vegeta's was one of the more lackluster.
Yeah,
Little, but
it was just the
less
Super Saiyan
about
3
the
moment when it
fight
was just like,
and more
whoa.
about what came of the fight, which was the fan service of finally giving you Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta.
There you go.
which I was a little underwhelmed by, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh.
Just like his hairstyle, it didn't.
I think it's because it's the kid mode. You don't get that full like adult like down to the like back of the knees kind of thing. It looks so cool. It's like it's smaller. It's like but yeah.
Quite right for me. Like when Goku goes Super Saiyan 3, he gets like the full down the back Raditz look.
There you go,
The
yeah.
silhouette he cuts is much different than Vegeta's straight back Sonic the Hedgehog looking ass.
So somebody pointed this out, and I think it's very interesting that Super Saiyan 3 for Gotenks actually looks different from Super Saiyan 3 for Goku. And I never really thought about this before. But if you look at the way that they hang and the way that they're framed, like the one for Gotenks is actually really shaggy.
It looks,
Yeah.
you know that, like, sort of, I don't know what they call it in Japanese, but that sort of fur-ass hair-looking cape that Jiraiya wears?
Yeah, all right,
So
yeah.
that's what it looks like on Gotenks, whereas on Goku, it has that more Raditz-looking flow.
Very much so, yeah.
Vegeta is just like a big, again, it looks like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, it's looked like they gave Gohan Beast volume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like kind of sticks straight back and like doesn't.
Instead
flow
of just
out.
straight up.
I
Yeah,
don't
all right.
love it. If you put a gun in my head and asked me if he should have that or the one that he had in Raging Blast, I would have gone with the one in Raging Blast.
Yeah,
I know.
I do kind of like how it hangs down.
Hangs
the back.
down, yeah,
Like,
missing out
I
there.
think that silhouette just cuts better.
I agree.
But what they do with it and how he acts during it, I love. I love his presentation of having that power.
Vegeta here feels more like Vegeta should than we've seen in a while. Where he is just like he is. Even when he's struggling, he's not like freaking out. And when he's on top, he's not like he's just. Oh my god.
Just
When he comes
owning
over
it.
here,
Just
it's
owning
so
it.
good. He looks. He just looks so cool. And him flying around with his arms crossed.
Yeah,
I'm like
doing
yeah.
the Gogeta thing.
Yeah.
And the way they present his power, like when he delivers.
Yo, the water splash was so cool. Oh!
Water. I love that. Like the presentation of the power is sick.
Yeah, it was sort of amazing too because, like, oh man, just that shot of them flying through the
Yeah.
divide in the water. It's so cool, and oh man, the CG effects on the powering up look great.
Yes.
I was really impressed with that.
Visually fantastic.
Yeah, the ultimate fight choreography and animation is not the best. It definitely doesn't hold up exactly to that first Tamagami fight. And I do think the Tamagami fight between Do and with Do is probably the better of the two of them. It's more creative and
And
chaotic.
they're happening at the same time too, which is the weird thing. So
Yeah, but it is still good. It's still good, and it's oh my god. Not only
I love how it ends where he like. You know, Vegeta knows he has the upper hand. The Tamagami knows Vegeta has the upper hand.
Yeah.
He flies in there. He's about to do like one more thrust. Vegeta just kind of catches it, breaks the spear. Is like, "Fuck you gonna do?
yeah,
Fuck you
no,
gonna do?"
him breaking the spear. I like this.
That was
like the theme of like their weapons getting broken and like because it happens. I think it happens in both Goku and Vegeta's.
It happens to the Hammer guy and it happens to Vegeta's. I don't remember if it happens to Ku.
Don't think it
I don't
does.
think it happens with Ku, but I like the both breaking the weapons, being like, nah, I don't need a weapon, so you don't get one either.
Yeah, you're done here. Look,
Yeah.
you're a mid boss in this scenario.
Yeah, and
And I do like that Neva powered him up too, just to be like, okay, let's see how this goes.
and it's a good like plot wise, great choice because yeah, now that Neva's here, he can do that, and he is curious, so he does do that. So
And the
then,
Saiyans don't care. They just want more. they
Yeah,
just
let's
want
fight.
bigger
Let's
challenges.
fight.
So it's not even an antagonistic move.
And then we get to escalate the fight. We get to go to another form. Because obviously, if Goku is strong enough as a Super Saiyan to defeat one, why wouldn't Vegeta be strong enough to defeat the other? But now he's got to break out 3, which, again, really great to see. Even if I don't prefer this version of that form for Vegeta, I am so glad it finally happened. Because, god damn it, why wouldn't it? And also, Vegeta gets a W, which,
Yeah.
god damn it, he
always
needs
nice.
it.
Yeah, and not to mention we have terrain that plays into effect, which for the trident-wielding character to fight underwater, I liked. I appreciate that they're using weaponry designed for their terrain.
Yeah, definitely. It's sorry. Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm a big fan of. I'm a big fan of the setups and the executions for all 3 Tamagami. I'm glad we got these big fights, and also it's really cool thinking about it that the one Tamagami gave us an opportunity to see both how Ku and Do fight. So they all serve these great purposes. It's just the structure for this has been interesting, and when it works really well.
Yeah. And I also liked Vegeta's riddle, where, you know, they give you this map.
Oh yeah, I can't remember the reasoning for him getting it right, but it was
Vegeta's
funny.
just like, and then you start off with this many cookies. You give a third of them away. Then you give away the other half. But then a bully comes and he takes this many. He feels bad, so he gives you back this much. And then you give the rest to a snake. How many cookies was the snake able to eat?
By the way,
Vegeta's like, none. Snake
Yeah.
don't eat cookies.
I love the fact during all of it, he's just going like he goes Super Saiyan because he's getting so impatient.
Trying to concentrate, just like ah.
His angry impatience makes him go Super Saiyan. It's so good.
He's like, I was here for a fight. What the fuck is this?
Yeah, and the fact that I like when I was watching it, I was like, oh, it's I believe it was 3. I think the
Yeah.
answer was 3. When I was watching, I'm like, it's just 3. But like, yeah, Vegeta's not gonna get it. But when he says 0, and it's like snakes don't eat cookies.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I also like the dual aspect of the Tamagami. It's like not only do you have to prove that you're strong enough to be able to,
We have
beat
to do
these
this
things,
thing
but
afterwards
you
as
have
well,
to prove that you're
yeah.
smart enough to deserve the Dragon Ball, or wise enough to deserve the Dragon Ball. Like Goku had to think outside the box. Like, okay, follow the ball, follow the ball. Follow
Oh
the
my
ball.
god, I'm so glad they touched on this because they didn't mention it. I was like, why have you not touched on this? Like, because he's like, no, it's not even there. You threw it without thinking I'd be able to see it.
Ball and cup game where he tosses the ball really quickly, and Goku's like, it's back that way, thinking
Yeah.
outside the box, being wise, because Goku is not smart.
and it makes me wonder if like there was something about that other one that could have been exploited.
Maybe, but it seems like that one is just like somebody who deserves to make a wish on the Dragon Balls needs to be smart, but also needs to be wise as well as powerful. Like there's a level of mental gymnastics to each of them. Because with Goku, he needed to be like observant, be willing to think beyond the boundaries of the game. For Vegeta's, it was you need to think about the words, not just the numbers. Whereas the last one was like, you just gotta use these numbers.
Yeah, but like, okay, so with the Goku one, it really is just a matter of like you have to pay attention to where the ball is. I think with that second one though, it was like he could have said 3 and probably won.
Maybe. But what if Vegeta was right because snakes don't eat cookies?
It would be really funny if that was actually the only answer that would have worked.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Again, the Tamagami. I wondered how well they were going to play in the story.
Decent.
At the end of the, yeah, they worked. They worked.
Didn't
really
hang
well.
around too long.
Give us some
Just
great
worked.
fight scenes,
Just
some
worked.
great comedic moments. Decent as characters. I liked their challenges. I am very curious where we're going from here, though, because,
It feels like throughout this entire thing, we occasionally cut back to Goma and Degasu, essentially just watching what's happening.
Yeah.
They've always been that sort of like threat in the background. They are where the plots will converge because they have Dende.
it definitely feels
so-
like this has to be the point where they.
I
make a
keep
real
forgetting that Dende's there, yeah.
So I feel like where the plot's going to go from here is, God, I don't know if the Dragon Ball plot will be resolved first. Like, obviously, the Dragon Balls, Goma, and all of them all have to end up in the same place. Because the more I've been thinking about it, I think you're right. I think the eye on,
It's the third eye, yeah.
oh fuck, Hibis's belt is the
Hibis.
evil eye.
Yeah.
Hibis. I think they're all going to end up in the same place. Goma's going to be like, that's the eye! There's the eye! So they're all going to end up in the same place with the Dragon Balls. I think that's where the climax is going to be, because I'm guessing this is what, a 24-episode show?
I think it's
I
no
don't know,
one's-
like,
no one's
24
actually
is one of those standard numbers, right?
no one's actually 100% sure how many episodes this is going to be. There was a rumor that it was just 20.
You know,
I'm
20
seeing
makes
that.
sense with how this thing's been paced.
I'm seeing that, which is so annoying. I
If
wanted
it
more,
ends up
but
winning, I think that's where this is going to lead. They're all going to end up in the same place, because it feels like you have to...
do you know what I want to happen as well? I want the manga to come back, right, and then be some mad reference to something that happens at the end of this to make it still continue within the story. Do you know what I mean? I think maybe that could be a cool thing where like they're holding out on the manga for us to see how Daima ends, and then something that is part of Daima then starts becoming part of the story. If you know what I mean, that'd be cool.
The Dragon Ball plot at relatively the same time as the Dende plot, right?
Yeah, we'll have to see, because again, like also how Glorio and like the whole Arensu thing is going to play into it. I'm very curious because we haven't touched on that almost at all since the reveal happened.
Yeah, we haven't seen how his treachery is going to play out. Like how Ku and Do are going to face into this, because it's obvious that Vegeta and Goku would go up against those two. There might be like the fusion bug involved.
Excuse
who
me.
knows?
Ooh.
But it'll be interesting. I feel like everything's heading in the same direction, though. I saw the preview of the next episode, which looks like they're in either a giant space or they get shrunk again, because they're like around a bunch of giant marmots.
Yeah, I'm curious about that myself.
Oh,
Self-contained
yes.
episode, which at this rate is a little weird. But we'll see. I'm really looking forward to how this series is going to shake out from here. A lot of the problems that I had with it in its first half of what we've gotten so far have kind of been ironed out over time. I'm just
It's definitely
what
worked itself
happens
out.
Next is going to be, it's going to be really make or break because, man, it's so weird watching this again. Like I only talked about this a little bit beforehand, but this is like the last thing Toriyama worked on for Dragon Ball, and well, maybe
There's a
maybe.
bittersweetness to it, yeah.
There is, and just like experiencing this has been surreal in a way.
I love
never-
it. I love it.
I don't know. It's
I don't know. Maybe from this point forward, we can talk about this episode by episode.
I definitely will do a rewatch of Daima dubbed once it's finished. Like, I will. I've really enjoyed it. It's been class.
Because at this
Yeah.
point, we're caught up.
I wouldn't.
I mean,
wouldn't
I guess
mind-
the latest episode dropped today, so.
Yeah, I actually wouldn't mind if we did it episode by episode. That there's a, I don't think people would mind so much.
Yeah, because these conversations, again, I didn't think this one would be an hour. It's been about an hour, so.
Yeah.
Well, look, I could talk. Oh man, I could talk about Dragon Ball stuff for God knows how long. You know,
I could talk
that,
about
and-
Hybis for an hour, damn it.
Yeah.
it's true. I love the fact that Hybis is basically everyone's favorite character from the show right now.
He's great.
He's class.
Him, Arinsu, Neva, like
All
just,
of the new characters, I've enjoyed almost every single one of the new characters we've gotten.
Yeah, it's actually really impressive. I haven't seen this strong of an addition to the cast since like Beerus and
Beerus
Whis.
and Whis, yeah.
Yeah, like man, Beerus and Whis were truly. Not only are Beerus and Whis like some of the strongest additions that we've ever had to Dragon Ball, it's weird to think that there was a time before they existed.
Yeah,
It'll be interesting
yeah.
to see like where the lore develops from here because we also learned
They
that,
feel like they've always
like,
been around.
I guess there is a ruling class of Kai. Like they show this image in one of the exposition dumps of these people that I guess planted the Kai trees or something. Because there was somebody that like Shin referred to as like somebody that's like above them. That's not just the ruler of that planet. It seems like they're almost in that sort of Omni King sort of role, but they aren't the Omni King.
I
don't
forget.
know.
I forget what it was called.
But you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, no, and he looks a lot like Zeno too.
Yeah.
He looks
Yeah.
like the Omni King. Also interesting, and maybe you saw this. They show Gowasu.
Yeah, I remember that. So like
Yeah.
there is that super connection. So I don't know. Like maybe people are gonna have to have their memories wiped. Maybe this is just kind of an Elseworld story. I don't know.
I hope that doesn't end
I
that
do
way.
think that there's not going to be any mind wiping. I think this is just a story in Dragon Ball that takes place after Buu, and like this is whether or not you want to consider GT the canon or Super the canon or Daima the canon, whatever. Enjoy it. If you wanna take stuff, if you wanna take lore points from one and mix it with another, go ahead. Nobody's
Yeah,
good. Like
at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter.
No.
it really does.
But it is an interesting thought experiment.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm very curious to see how it, like, I am also curious to see if they will try and act like this fits in with Super, because technically it could, but you'd have to refuse Shin and Kibito.
And nobody's mentioned Gods of Destruction at all.
Yeah, but they're not in it yet.
I mean,
like,
You
I
wouldn't
guess
have
you don't
to.
have to. Like maybe they're more. It feels like the Gods of Destruction are more.
That's what I'm saying. I really want the manga to come back and just, depending on how this ends, have something happen to help. So have something from Daima at the end help with how they're going to deal with potential, like, with Black Frieza and that in the manga. I don't know, like what,
related to Zeno than the Kais are.
Well, it definitely feels like the Kais are not. Yeah, it does, because when it comes to say Zeno and Whis and all those guys, like Whis and the Grand Minister, they're like angels and stuff like that, right? Where the Kais are like these god characters that were sort of like put in charge of the planets and whatnot. If there is in fact just this one dude that is in charge of all of them, but doesn't like play the role of say like the Grand Minister did, that sort of makes sense. Who knows? Like again, it's this whole thing.
Yeah, the theology of Dragon Ball is always changing.
yeah.
I thought we were. I swore I was like, okay, we're at Zeno. There's nothing beyond that. There's nothing that goes beyond like.
But there are things beneath him or around him that are.
I'm still wondering. There are some people who think that the dude that we see there is Zeno's dad.
I've seen the theories.
Similar.
They look
I don't know.
really similar. If he ends up like being Zeno's dad, that would be kind of amusing to me because Zeno did always sort of feel like this character.
He's a
was being
kid,
groomed
yeah.
for that part, right? He's like
Yeah, he's not
being
actually
raised
there.
to
He just
be
has the
that
power
guy.
to do it.
Like he's the trope of like the child emperor,
Yeah,
basically.
but like, who gave birth to the emperor? So I don't know.
I don't know. We'll
yeah.
learn as we go, maybe, or
Yeah.
maybe we won't. Who fucking knows?
Yeah, who cares,
Either
really?
way, I'm still digging it. After 12 episodes, I'm in. I've been enjoying it. We'll see if that sticks true as I go episode by episode from this point forward.
Well, I will say
With
you're,
pacing.
You're past the bad pacing. You're like the subjectively bad pacing. You're past that now though. Because I won't lie, watching it week to week lately has been way.
Yeah,
less
I'm really enjoying it. My God.
So
Yeah,
hopefully
we'll
it keeps
see how
that up.
this goes moving forward. What about you guys? What's your favorite Hibis moment?
Yeah, please type your favorite Hibis moment down below. Yeah, also feel free to correct us as rudely as you possibly can for anything we might have gotten wrong, because I know you guys love to do that.
Yeah, tell me to
Damn.
wash my hair more.
Hey, talk about my gray hair some more, why don't you?
Oh my God.
The ever nonstop march of time.
Right.
I'm gonna go try not to burn to death.
Have fun with that.
Oh,
Go try not
damn.
to freeze to death.
Have fun with that. Bye.
Later.
Oh, fun. Always fun watching these guys talk about just anything. But yeah, like, so that's 7 to 12. So what I'm thinking of doing is, I think I mentioned it last time, every Monday and Friday, doing one of these. Because they've done 13 and 14 together as the next one. So this one's gone up on a Monday, so we'll do 13 and 14 on the Friday. And then I think they're doing individual episodic ones, but if I still do Monday, Friday, I'm hoping that I eventually catch up to when it, well, I'll catch up. Do you know what I mean? I'll catch up doing that. So yeah, this is fun. I'm enjoying Daima. Hope you guys are as well. And thanks for watching.